new age opening for the whole world, for the political, social, cultural and spiritual future of humanity. Bharat has a role to play for humanity. This person is envisioning deeply rooted in the idea of spiritual nationalism and his understanding of Indian culture. He talks about his dreams and he doesn't forget. He is a Maharshi. He left all the political activities, settled there in Aurobindo Ashram, in Pondicherry. But he says, revolutionary movement which would create a free and unified India was my first dream. Now India today is free, but she has not achieved unity. We should never forget this. His first pain while celebrating independence is the partition. And again, I want to ask this question to every thinking mind. Sri Aravind, as I said, was an intellectual force behind entire new movement that we saw within Congress, which then popularly known as Vande Mataram movement or Vangabhanga movement. Only one piece of land was divided of Bengal on religious lines. Now there are people who say, if some people want to go away, let them go away. If Kashmir is divided, so what? Why people of India stood up when nobody in Congress was ready to take this challenge? Lal Bal Pal came as new leadership. Did anybody call Lala Lajpat Rai as a Punjabi? Did anybody call Tilak as a Brahminical Maharashtrian guy? Did anybody call Bipin Chandra Pal as somebody Bengali? Why these three leaders were accepted? Why Sri Aurobindo's editorials were popular? Entire India erupted irrespective of language or religion. 436 secret societies were working. British documents prove that. Entire Anushilan Samiti was coordinating this activity throughout India. Within 6 years, we forced Britishers not just to take back the decision of partition, but to change their capital from Kolkata to Delhi. What happened in next 36 years? That not just Bengal, but Punjab, Mumbai, everything got divided and we accepted the partition. That is the pain of Sri Aravind. First religious partition that India resisted as India. Where did that resistance go? That is his pain. And therefore, again and again he is reminding that don't forget this. Unified India is a geocultural destiny for the world. Many people do not understand this idea of geocultural identity of our nationhood. It is not about religion. Come on. Panini is not about geography. Sharda Pit is not about geography. Ravi is not about geography. Sindhu is not about geography. It's this nation's geocultural identity. That getting divided is this nationhood getting divided. The idea of India getting weakened. And lastly, I just want to make one point and why we need to revisit Aurobindo from spiritual nationalist point of view. There is basically, even today, there is a contestation about three ideas of India. This has been my thesis. I can go on talking about Sri Aurobindo's dreams, but I know you have been listening since yesterday and a Veldectry session. So I have to limit myself. I'm already touching the time assigned by the organizers. So I'll make just last point. There are three contesting ideas of India that are being debated intellectually even today. That was rooted in independence struggle, but there Sri Aurobindo is most relevant. That's why I'm referring to them. There is first idea of India that was proposed, or that is rather imposed by British. Unfortunately accepted by the Congress, especially Nehru. And he used it even in his first speech on 15th of August or midnight. That India is a nation in the making. In a way, accepting the fact that we were not a nation. It is the British who initiated this process, and that's why we had this sense of nationalism. My simple question is, and I asked this, I'm a student of JNU, and I asked this to one of my teachers also. If before British coming here, there was no India or idea of India, why did Portuguese call their company as Portuguese East India Company? If there was no India before British, correct, why didn't they call it Bengal, Portuguese Bengal Company or Portuguese Calicut Company or Portuguese? They didn't see us as a citizen of Calicut or citizen of Bengal. They saw us as India. The same is about French East India Company. The same is about Dutch India Company. And same is about East India Company. British East India Company. If there was no India, why there was a company named after India? Simple logical question. But unfortunately, the so-called founder of modern India accepted this premise that India was not there and we have to make India. And in making this India, we adopted a model called socialism, secularism and linguistic identities. All the three borrowed concepts from Europe. The second contestation came from the communist side. Though they started this from 25 itself, but 1942 they articulated it in a very systematic fashion, which eventually became the foundation for the creation of Pakistan also. That India was never a nation, India can never be a nation, India is a conglomeration of nationalities. So Tukde Tukde is not a new thing. It's a 1942 resolution of communists. That India consists of some say 18, some say 25, but basically different identities, and eventually they will break up. Or they have to break up. But there was a third force that has been existing in India since time immemorial, that saw Bharat as a geocultural Rashtra from Himalayas to Indian Ocean. That saw a continuum, not just geographical but cultural. That saw Ganga as Ganga and Rameshwaram as Rameshwaram. That saw Kashi as Kashi and Jyotirlingas as Jyotirlingas. All that thought traveling from time immemorial to Chanakya, to every time and again, whether Shankaracharya, whether entire Bhakti movement, whether Shivaji, to in the modern times, before that, of course, Swami Vivekananda made his own contributions, but in modern times, in terms of nationalism, if somebody has re-articulated this indigenous idea of modern nationalism, that India is a continuous civilizational legacy with a strong idea of spiritual nationhood, that is Sri Aravind. And because this idea is being challenged again and again intellectually, we got the political independence. But now the battle is for decolonizing our intellect. The battle is for decolonizing our economic and social political structures. Unless our minds are independent of Western paradigms and prism, we cannot reconstruct Bharat on its civilizational edifice that will be able to guide and lead the world for a balanced prosperity, peace. The idea of righteousness exemplified through a moral power, not just military or economic power. First time we have shown that to the world through our vaccine diplomacy. We distributed more than 2,400 million vaccines to 101 countries without any expectation from them. That was asserting of a moral authority. India proposed one idea, first time ever since Second World War it has happened, that India proposed one idea of International Day for Yoga. 177 countries jointly proposed the resolution, which was unanimously passed by each and every nation. First time ever without any difference of opinion or veto, such a resolution is passed. Thirdly, when the Solar Alliance was to be created, unanimously it was decided, 133 countries proposed that India should be the headquarter. This is the idea by the Indian government and Indian Prime Minister, and that's why Solar Alliance has to be stationed in India. If alternative energy sources grabbed as the Suryopasana, the idea that was conceived, it is the land of Bharat, and that's why it has to be recognized. This is just a beginning. I believe that this divine force is working in the right direction. We are rediscovering ourselves as an old civilization for the modern world. The challenge is that Sri Aurobindo has posed before us of accepting this as the intellectual challenge of soldiers who are ready to fight this war for Mother India, so that she can enlighten the world with this eternal idea of spirituality and universal consciousness. I just wish this endeavor by Mytic Society will enable us, enlighten everybody, and take us together because we know how to manage it. We never considered our diversity as differences. Many people say, we have diverse cultures. Sorry, we don't have diverse cultures. We have a unique culture that celebrates diversity. We have a unique idea of managing differences and taking them to a new kind of synthesis. There was Advaita and Advaita, and still we found Dvaita Advaita. That is the beauty of Bharat. Even Catholics and Protestants couldn't do that. They had to come out with a fake idea called tolerance to tolerate each other. We have Shaivites and Vaishnavites, and still we know how to respect atheists. That beauty of Bharat has to enlighten the world. In future, if it is peace, prosperity and moral power that is to be demonstrated as a model to entire world. There is no other option but for India to awaken. That was Sri Aurobindo's ultimate dream. I hope our efforts will lead to that direction. May Bharat Mata give us that strength. Namaste.